right, guys, welcome back. We are going to be recapping UFC Fight Night Smith versus Teixeira right now. It was an amazing card. Great fights. There was 4 awesome fights on the prelims. Some great finishes on the main card. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about, my man. There's a huge main event, but I want to take a second to talk about Jorge Masvidal that's on the show right now. I mean, Waleed looking like Jorge. What's up, bro? Looking over there like Cuban Jesus. How you doing today, man?
I'm tired. I slept all day, but I'm still tired. I didn't sleep. I don't know. Like today was
Listen,
weird. Today was
just
kind of a
don't try
weird
to
day.
fly and knee me through this fucking computer screen, all right?
Nah, no, I won't do that. I'm too lazy. I'm
No
too weak right
promises.
now to do anything.
Well, let's talk about one man who did not look weak on Saturday night, and that is in the heavyweight division. Chase Sherman went in there with a beautiful elbow knockout to the debuting Ike Villanueva in the second round. It only took 49 seconds for Sherman to prove that he belonged back in the UFC.
Yeah, definitely. We start this shit strong with a knockout, and this is how every pay-per-view fight night should start. Two big guys going at it, and one of them knocking the other out.
Listen, like 7 times out of 10, this is like legit stats. You're going to get a knockout in the heavyweight division.
Yeah,
You should always start shows in heavyweights. They're just
exactly.
bangers to start off. Another great featherweight matchup was the rising and undefeated at the time Hunter Azir getting taken out by Brian Kelleher with some beautiful striking display. Kelleher really was just, he threw first, and that's what it was. He caught Hunter, looking multiple times, and he finished the fight off in the second round, 3 minutes and 40 seconds in, with just clean technical striking.
Yeah, he looked better than him. He was more accurate in his striking. So yeah, it was a beautiful fight by Brian. Beautiful performance.
One of the other undefeated guys on the prelims, Omar Morales, kept his O intact with a beautiful decision over Gabriel Benitez. But the talk of the town was Gabriel Benitez's knee. Did you see his shin? It was completely split open. You could stick a pin through his knee. That's how bad it was. Oh my goodness, that man was checking some powerful kicks.
Yeah, it didn't look pretty. Those, sometimes when you watch on TV someone getting leg kicked or getting kicked in the balls, like you can feel it.
Yes.
Yeah, you can feel it. So
especially right now with no crowd, you hear the little impacts and the integral. I mean, it's amazing right now. People were worried about not having the crowds. I love it. I love being able to hear the corners. We're going to talk about the corner and being able to hear them too much in a little bit. But I love the whole situation. I love hearing every little punch. I can't get enough of it. And Fight Island, bro, let's get Fight Island done, okay? Let's figure this shit out, Dana. Call me. I'll come out there, work for free, okay? Just let me stay and watch the fights.
Would be perfect.
In the women's bantamweight division, Sijara Eubanks has definitely really solidified herself as a bantamweight, winning this very, very cleanly. A lot of people gave her slack about her cardio in the flyweight division. And really on Saturday night, she put all that to bed, showing that she has the cardio to last at 135 pounds. Do you think Sijara Eubanks gets a top 15 opponent next?
I'm not sure about that. I know that in those division, like you can get just one win and then we directly start talking about the top ranked fighter.
Yes.
Maybe it's too soon. I don't know. It all depends on the opportunities. So why not? Yeah, why not giving her someone along the top 15? I agree with you.
I would love to see her get a step up in competition. I really feel like 35 is where she should be. She's a little short for the division, but she'll figure it out with that power.
Yeah.
Now, a fight that was scrapped from the card because of, illness once he was cutting weight, Carl Robinson was unable to make it to the scales to face Marvin Vettori. Good news for Vettori, though. He is an alternate fighter for, I want to say the main event tomorrow night. I'm not sure exactly what they had him weigh in for, but they had him weigh in today at Friday's weigh-ins, along with Uriah Faber as alternate athletes. So we might see Marvin Vettori back in the UFC octagon a lot sooner than we expected.
I'm not a huge fan of those very short notice fights, but this proves how of a badass that you are if you are willing to step up and you don't even know who you're going to face because you don't know who, between those
or
two
what
fighters.
division.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
You don't even know what division it's going to be. It could be, Anders and Jocko at middleweight. It could be, I mean, there's plenty of possibilities for Mr. Marvin Vettori if something does fall out.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about Michael Johnson a little bit last week when we did the preview. I stated that I really feel like Michael Johnson's time in the UFC has kind of run its course, and I believe that he would be better served in like a Bellator situation or maybe even just coaching altogether because I know that he is a great mind in the UFC. Yeah. Now, in the MMA world, just in general, sorry. I really feel like maybe even why not go give Nathan Schultz a run for his money and try to get that $1 million at PFL? I really feel like there's other opportunities outside of the UFC that are better fitted for Michael Johnson right now. Thiago Moraes was really getting pieced up in that first round, and Michael Johnson just showed how good his striking really is. I mean, he did it to Tony Ferguson. He did it to all kinds of guys. He did it to Khabib Nurmagomedov. Yeah. But he was unable to finish the show as Thiago Moraes runs in at the second round. Within 25 seconds in that round, finishes the submission. And that's all she wrote for Mr. Michael Johnson. Thiago Moraes with a beautiful submission victory.
Yeah, Michael Johnson, his problem is that sometimes you're watching him and you say that, yeah, he's looking good during those fights, but he can't just pull the trigger. And I don't know if it's maybe the age or maybe the number of fights he had. He had a lot of fights. But I agree with you. Yes, I believe leaving the UFC, listen, I believe if you can make it in the UFC or you feel that in the UFC you're not valued enough, go for that $1 million PFL tournament.
Dude.
Yeah.
Nathan Schultz does not have a lot of competition. Arbano Mercier just went over there. I mean, there's some options over there in PFL. Do not scoot them out because you don't think they're the top level as the UFC is. Now, a man who just came from the PFL, Felipe Lins, lost a decision to your man, Andre Arlovski. And I seen you give him a shout out on the Instagram. Yeah. By the way, you guys, I got to give a quick shout out. Waleed is the man in charge of doing all those great Instagram stories during the fights. This man is keeping us up to date and what's going on. So if you're not able to watch the fights, just check out Native MMA's Instagram and Waleed will keep you up to date. Now, for his best friend, Andre Arlovski. We got to get Arlovski on the. I'm gonna have you do the interview with Arlovski.
I would love to, bro. Man. I'm a huge fan of Arlovski, and he looks good.
He looked good against Felipe Lins. He does that to me though, where he'll look really good, and then he'll look like Arlovski.
Yeah, no, because he looked very good against some kind of good fighters. Then they give him like a true killer, and he should be fighting killers. He should be fighting those type of guys. He can't run for the belt, but he still wants to fight, and he's still out there, being good. He like when you see him, he slowed down. His pace is not like when he was younger. Now when he fights, it's to keep up with the 3 rounds, all the minutes. He's fighting very slow, but it's good. It's very technical.
That this was his 50th professional fight.
Yeah, amazing. Listen, the man is a legend.
Straight up. 100% bona fide MMA Hall of Famer, not just UFC Hall of Famer, an MMA Hall of Famer, a legend. Like, legitimately, we would not have little guys in the heavyweight division if it wasn't for somebody like Andre Arlovski showing them the way.
Yeah, agreed.
Now, one man who impressed me very much was Ricky Simone. I thought he looked very good, although he beat a very game Ray Borg. He beat him in his decision. Ray Borg put it on him too in the 3rd round. Ray Borg was ripping some nasty body shots, but I really feel like the wrestling in the 1st and 2nd round that Ricky was able to just dominate really gave him that fight. I would love to see Ricky Simone with another step up in competition in that bantamweight division. And like you and I talked about, Waleed, I really feel like Ray Borg is more fit for that flyweight division. Yeah. But I mean, he just looks like an animal still, even at bantamweight. I don't think either one of those guys lost the fight. I believe both of their stocks went up after it. A great performance by both of them. Ricky Simone got the nod tonight, though.
I believe Ray Borg, like watching this fight, I felt like watching a bantamweight against a flyweight. I believe I felt that Ray Borg didn't really. Technically, of course, Ray Borg can fight in this division. But the fact is, size does matter. I believe that Ray Borg needs to build his body, gain more muscle, I believe, so that he can actually hang with the wrestlers like that. Because Ray Borg's ground game is pretty good. So to have, he got taken down like 7 times in this fight. It's not good. When you get taken down 7 times, and we saw that with Nate Diaz moving up to welterweight, fighting against Rory.
That speaks wonders to Ricky's takedowns also.
Yeah, of course.
Because like you stated, Ray's a very good wrestler, and I don't think it was easy for him. Ricky didn't just go in there and plow him down for 3 rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we saw that with Nate Diaz fighting against Rory McDonald as welterweight. Yes. You saw that. So I believe size does matter. Ray Borg needs to gain more or stay at flyweight, like you said.
I would love to see Borg challenge for that flyweight
title. Hey, there's no
now
champion.
There's no Johnson champion. Is out of the way. Yeah, I really feel like he's right there at the top if he wants to jump back in that division. Now, another very impressive performance was put on by a lightweight this time. Drew Dauber gets the KO victory 4 minutes and 25 seconds into the second round against our good friend Alexander Hernandez. One thing about Hernandez, though, is this man has really owned this. I know he's a friend of ours. I know I'm just going to toot his horn real quick. But most fighters will curl up in a shell after they lose a fight like that. And I feel like every time he does something like this and he gets down, he really just puts himself right back up top. I mean, the kid has completely 100% owned this loss. And he said it from the beginning. It's just something that you don't see from somebody like that. Here's exactly what he wrote on his Instagram. It said, "Terrific performance by Drew Dauber. It is clear you have evolved as a fighter. I inspire to make those changes of my own. It begins with the mind, which is as of late I have been at odds with. Watching the fight back, it seems like a pretty decent scrap, but where is my presence? Where is my resolve? Where is the fire? There's much to reassess both physically and mentally. The man in the mirror is not at peace nor understood. The why needs to be rediscussed and resolved before any of my mind evolutionary changes can be made. I'm willing and eager to do that. Thank you to all of my friends for the support. Those heartfelt conversations draw meaning and inspiration. And to everyone else, trolls will be trolls. Fuck them."
Yeah, I don't think he got trolled for that fight. His performance was decent. It's just that Drew Dauber...
He looked decent, but like you and I talked about, Dauber hit his ass with that man strength.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Dauber is a grown-ass man, and if you don't think there's a difference, go to your nearest jiu-jitsu gym as soon as all this COVID bullshit is over, and go wrestle an 18-year-old kid. Yeah. And then go wrestle or, go roll with a 30-year-old man. And there's a difference there. There's I will grab guys sometimes and like, well, I wasn't expecting that. I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm a fucking grown-ass man. Ain't no little kid shit no more.
Drew, I thought that maybe, by the end of the round, maybe Drew Dauber was going to slow down, but he didn't slow down. Since the first second, he was there. Yeah, yes, he did.
A great performance by Dauber. I really, really, really would love to see him fight Felder.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hernandez took him down. He had 3 takedowns, but the problem is he couldn't keep him down, which was a problem. Yes. But
well, the one that was a desperation takedown, Dauber popped right back up.
Exactly. So it's kind of hard, but there's some fights like that. There's so much to learn from fights like that.
You win some, you lose some, Yeah. I mean, him and I talked about it. I was like, listen, bro, it is what it is. Get back on that horse. You got this.
Yeah. Still very young.
Very, very, very young. We'll get him on the show as soon as he's ready to talk about it. I've already talked to Drew. We're going to get him on the show soon. Hopefully we can get that all locked down this week. Now, for the next fight of the night, it wasn't as exciting as this Drew Dober, Alexander Hernandez fight. Let me tell you what. But Ben Rothwell won the unanimous decision against Ovin St. And it was a lackluster fight, in my opinion. Now, I thought we were going to see an electrifying, heavy-handed Ovin St. and we've seen that up until the cardio dump, and we didn't see it no more.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's almost always been the problem with OSP is that huge cardio dump. Now, Ben Rothwell, obviously being the veteran heavyweight that he is, was able to withstand the early onslaught that OSP gave and really was smart enough within his veteran presence to wait it out and then dictate the later part of the fight, giving him this victory.
Yeah, I believe the clinch, Ben Rothwell was very good in the clinch when he was putting OSP against the cage and putting all his weight. Because listen, Ben Rothwell is a big dude, and if he lay all his weight on you and you're against the cage, you will get tired, because you can't even take.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah, Ben Rothwell is a big guy, and he fought like a big guy should fight. And OSP, even though OSP is a very powerful man, like you said, his cardio wasn't there that night.
No, 100%. I feel like, though, if he does get his cardio up, dude, he could be scary.
Yeah, but that's the problem. When you move up a weight class, you gain power. But a lot of people say, your cardio will not look that great. We saw that in the heavyweight boxing fight between Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. Joshua lost a lot of weight in that second fight, and Ruiz gained a lot of weight, and we saw the difference. So, is it in his best interest to fight in this division? I'm not very sure about that, but guess we will find out in his next fight.
Now, in the light heavyweight main event, Glover Teixeira proved everything that I said in our last show. If he was here without all these visa issues, he was able to come to the UFC when his talent permitted him to. We would be talking about a light heavyweight legend. This man, Glover Teixeira, put on a beating on former title challenger Anthony Smith, among the likes of a beating that we have never seen anybody put on Anthony Smith, not even the light heavyweight champion John Jones.
Yeah.
Now, my question for you, do you think that Anthony Smith's corner should have stepped in before it really went on way too long? Glover was putting it on him. He knocked out his teeth, for fucking Christ's sake. Do you think Anthony's corner should have thrown in the towel?
Listen, everybody said that the corner shouldn't throw the towel. Even Dana White said that. It is. I think it's pretty hard because when you know Anthony Smith personally and you know that this guy will never give up, for God's sake, his nickname is Lionheart, like you said, so he will not give up. And if you see the first seconds in each and every round, Anthony Smith was out there, and sometimes you have that feeling that maybe one punch can be enough. That's the problem with fighters like that, because they are great. But yes, the corner should protect the fighter. They shouldn't even let them gamble with their life. And Anthony Smith had I would say a shitty year.
You heard the clip. Yeah. He came out and he told his corner, I believe it was the third round, he's like, I'm losing teeth here.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
This is scary. Yeah. And I had problem with the corner between the second and third round, and he was saying, look at me. I think that they didn't give him good advice, but it is what it is.
The telecast was also talking about the advice that the corner was giving him. DC made mention to it multiple times that James Krause was continuously telling Anthony to throw combos, and they kept saying that if he stayed at that pace, he was gonna get tired. Yeah. Nobody can keep up that pace.
Exactly, and those are big guys, they get tired pretty quickly compared to those light divisions. It is what it is. I don't want to talk a lot about Anthony Smith because it wasn't his night, but Glover looked amazing. That performance was amazing.
Glover looked fucking phenomenal. Probably one of the best performances we've ever seen from Glover Teixeira. I mean, the huge knockdown. Let's just 202 total strikes.
A beatdown. Like
and
you can describe it.
138 of them were significant. Okay, let's just point that out. One thing about Smith I wanted to discuss so real quick is he had 87 total strikes. 86 were significant. So like you said, all he throws is power.
Yeah.
Where are the jabs?
They told him that in the third round when his gas tank was sort of empty. They tell him, you need to throw 70%. No. You tell him that in the beginning. If you think that you're going to walk and knock Glover out in the first round, man, you didn't watch Glover Teixeira 37 fights. Like, there's a problem with you. You don't do that to Glover. This is not this is not Manua or someone who can get knocked out. Glover is a tough guy. We saw that against Alexander Gustafsson. You saw how many uppercuts that he needs to go down.
I believe it was like 6-7 uppercuts is what it took him. Yeah. It was an amazing performance by Glover. It literally got Gustafsson a title shot.
Exactly. So, listen, Glover looked amazing. I want to see him fight as soon as possible because I believe that he can leapfrog a lot of people because nobody's clearly right now the number one contender. People will say Reyes. We know how it works. It will not be Reyes. We are talking about John Jones against Ngannou right now. More than Reyes against John Jones.
But John Jones versus Ngannou could be for the next person who challenges for the heavyweight title.
I believe Dana White set the seed when he said that maybe they will have some sort of Blachowicz against maybe Reyes or some fight like that. So when Dana White starts talking like that, you know that this fight won't happen. So unless Francis get injured, I'm not wishing that, or John Jones, or, if John Jones is clear and Francis is clear, we will have John Jones against Francis. This is what I think. And Dana White will throw Reyes.
Who does Glover get?
Glover, I don't know, man. Would you want to see him fight against Corey Anderson? Who do you want to see him fight against?
I think Anderson's an interesting matchup. I think you could even look at somebody like a Jimmy Crute.
Yeah.
I think him versus Jimmy Crute. I think Jimmy Crute is the right person to either it'll fucking shoot him way up there if he beats Glover. Or we give Glover a really good hyped newcomer he takes out. Or you can even look at somebody, if you don't want to give him Jimmy Crute, who is lower in the rankings, you can look at somebody like a Rakic, Alexander Rakic, who I believe is like 6. I believe those two striking would be a great matchup.
There is some good matchup for Glover. I believe that because right now he's pretty hot, he needs to come and fight as soon as possible. Because if after this fight he fights against and he wins against with this fashion because he looked amazing, he can start talking about title fight. The man was talking about title fights, I don't know for how many years. Give him a title fight, guys.
Give that man a title fight.
Yeah, he deserves it. So,
he made Anthony Smith look way worse than the champion did. Imagine what he's going to do to the champion. I hate MMA math, but
it's an interesting matchup. We don't know. Listen, we don't know if he can beat him, but it's a very interesting matchup.
100%. And John Hackleman. I mean, you can't. The tutelage and the smarts that man has in his corner, having Hackleman always there training him, you can't fucking sacrifice that. You can't switch that for nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, anything else on UFC Fight Night? Smith versus Teixeira.
It was a pretty good card, especially the main card. I really enjoyed the main card. Maybe people didn't enjoy watching Anthony Smith getting beat down, but because maybe some people were some sort of bias because of the story of Anthony Smith, that the guy broke into his house, so everybody wanted to see him win or whatever. But if you watch it as an MMA fan, that performance by Glover Teixeira was pretty amazing. Yeah, it was one of a kind.
Okay, we don't ever really do this. I wanted you to give me 3 people who you feel was really an impressive performance.
Oh, so this is I actually put that on Instagram for my biggest winners. I will give you the three. I believe Glover was a huge winner. Drew Dober,
Yes.
Drew
Well,
Dober,
100% Dober.
and Ricky Simon, I believe.
I'm
Because
surprised you didn't say Arlovsky.
come on, man. We are talking about guys
Honorable mentions, Brian Keller.
Yeah.
That knockout was amazing on an undefeated Hunter Azir. I want to see more from Cesar Eubanks at 135. And Chase Sherman, I would love to see him against a top-ranked 15 guy in the UFC. I really feel like he could do fucking phenomenal things now that he is back and refocused his career. This about wraps it up for UFC Fight Night Smith Vertex Teixeira. If you guys are checking us out, we're going to have another video here drop about tomorrow's fight card, UFC Fight Night Overeem versus Harris. So stay tuned.
Peace.
Be right back.